After 11 days, the doctors in Delhi end their strike. In several parts of the country over the Kolkata rape and murder horror. Resident Doctors Association at AIMS, RML, Lady Harding in Delhi ended their strike. In other parts too, strikes are ending, but not in Kolkata itself and not at the RG Kar hospital in particular. The doctors have claimed that emergency services at the hospital remain unaffected. Joining me at this moment is Dr. Kunal Sarkar, Senior Vice Chairman, Director and Head of Cardiac Surgery at Medical Super Specialty Hospital, Kolkata. He's been one of those who's been raising his voice against the way the government has handled this case. Dr. Manish Jangra is Founder and Chief Advisor, FIMA, which is the Association for Resident Doctors. And I'm also joined by a doctor at RG Kar Hospital who doesn't want to come on camera. He will only speak on audio. Can I first come to my guest from RG Kar Hospital to ask you, why have you decided to continue with your protests given the fact that the Supreme Court has asked you to call them off?
Yes, we are going to continue our protests because none of our demands have been met. The first demand that we have had since day one is justice. So not all the culprits have been arrested. They have not been given any punishment. We have no idea how far the investigation has proceeded so far, so now. And of course, we have not received any apology by the authority concerned under whose surveillance this crime happened. Even the vandalism that had happened, we have received no apology, and despite that there has been some resignations of the posts. Yet we, in one of our demands were that there should be no assignment of any administrative and authoritative posts in the future of their service, but this has not happened, and still now our safety is in question. As how do we know that if we go back to our work, are we going to be still safe? Can we give night shifts? What if those goons, those 7,000 goons who had attacked us, are they not going to come back at us? Or whoever is in the supreme power of this major crime are not going to get at us?
Okay. I want to come from there to you, Dr. Kunal Sarkar. You just heard this young doctor saying, look, they are still not sure of their safety, their security. They will carry on with their protests. They're still not sure justice has been done. As we are reporting today, the CBI seems to indicate that the Kolkata police has caught the right person. Sanjoy Roy was indeed the rapist in this case, as per our sources. Do you believe that that's enough to believe that justice has been done? What, according to you, will define justice in this case?
Rajdeep, it's a bit comforting that you emphasize on this point, but apart from your sources, people have heard the lengthy live streaming of the Supreme Court with the many queries raised and questions asked. But I think on the sort of official channels, there has not been any corroborations yet. The second point, which is very important to appreciate, is, the students of Arjikor has actually wounded the deepest. They carry the deepest wounds from all this episode. And what is actually adding insult to their injury is, for the good part of almost, say, ever since the 9th of August, this big institution has really not had any stable administration at all. What's coming of the ex-principal? The replacement principal have been changed. Every few days you have a musical chairs of administrators. So these aggrieved students really just appreciate the perspective. They've really not even had a couple of empathetic, responsible senior administrators, professors, whoever to talk to. They are really in an orphan state of affairs over there as far as the overall academic administration is concerned. And what is further complicating the situation in West Bengal is that every other day there is a huge list of academic, practical misdeeds, corruptions, a list which is coming from within the medical fraternity, which is really adding to the students' ire, how things are going wrong in conducting of the exams. There is an endless list of corruptions to do with favors, giving marks, and this is all happening within the medical community. And to some extent, it is happening within the larger Trinamool community. So I think it will take a little bit more time for the dust to settle. From the general perspective, there is no doubt about the fact that, Bengal relies very heavily on government hospitals, more so than any other big states of India. So from the people's perspective, no two words about the fact that these youngsters need to resume their duties, but they need to be consoled, given the confidence, they need to be comforted, and any measure of stability in the overall healthcare administration in Bengal is sadly missing. The sooner the government gets its act together, the better will it be. So I believe, give it a few more days, I think they will calm down with some kind of conclusion being arrived, closure being arrived at this case. And we feel, as much as you do or anyone else, that we really need to resume normality in the hospitals, because needless to say, thousands are being affected.
I'll come back to you in a moment, Dr. Sarkar. I just want to understand from you, Dr. Manish Jangra, you're leading this protest in different parts of the country. Now that the Supreme Court has given certain assurances, has asked you to return to work, are all of you returning to work, or are resident doctors in certain parts still going to stay away?
Sir, first of all, I would like to thank Rajdeep Sardesai, sir, for inviting me to the show. And I would like to personally say one thing. Rajdeep Sardesai, sir, always supported the resident doctors. Every time I contacted sir personally, and sir always tweeted about our issues and always shared those things. Thank you so much, sir.
No, that is because
Now,
my son has been a resident doctor. I know the problems that you have. But beyond that, I want to understand from you. Have you all decided now to call off the strike? Is that an all India decision?
Yes, sir. Basically, our organization today has a meeting at 3 p.m. after the Supreme Court verdict. The meeting continued for 3 hours. And at last, it was concluded after the majority stakeholders. It was decided that strike should be called off, because there was some different opinion also. Some resistance was also there from some states, like Maharashtra states was meeting with the CM on the behalf of MARD Association. They are also the part of the FIMA. And in every state, they were meeting their health minister and their chief minister. So basically, at last, it was decided that Supreme Court has directed the CBI. Obviously, it is monitoring the CBI.
But have you got any assurances from the health ministry?
Sir, till now we basically has got a notice after the Supreme Court has intervened it, and they have ordered the health ministry. They have created this national task force after the Supreme Court advice or order. Right. And I would like to tell one thing to you, sir. When the Supreme Court has directed the state governments, and DGP after the FIMA was the party in the Supreme Court today, on the behalf of the advocate Tanvi Dubey was there to represent the FIMA, and Dr. Rishiraj Sinha presented there as our member of the FIMA. And the Supreme Court, after hearing our plea, he directed all the states and DGP he has given the 2 weeks to them to protect the interim protection to the every doctors working in every state. And Supreme Court has asked for 2 weeks review in this form, whether they are forming any committee or whether what they are actually doing to protect as interim protection to the.
So you're saying you will get.
So we are happy on this part. And regarding the CBI case, already we protested in the Delhi. When we protested in the Delhi, the government was forced to give the case to the, basically Supreme Court directed the case to the CBI, because a huge pressure was there from the Delhi resident doctors under our organization. Okay, so we are happy that CBI is doing Manish, its duty, and it is under monitoring by the Supreme Court. So
Manish, I'm running out of time, because I just want to get in Dr. Sarkar for a final word. Dr. Sarkar, we seem to be in a situation where will accountability be fixed? You've spoken about the complete mess in the medical system at the moment, particularly in Bengal. This incident highlighting it both at the government level as well as the hospital level. How would you like to see accountability fixed? Is it where does the buck stop?
Look, Rajdeep, we cannot change the past. And rather than, even before, yes, accountability has to be fixed. But before that, we have to have a semblance of some systematic management in the West Bengal health system, because they are at the receiving end of the angst and the ire of the students community, the people at large. Every second day, their minds get changed, their orders get altered. So really, under somebody like our Chief Minister, Mamata Banerjee, who's also the Health Minister, they will have to weather the storm. They will have to stand firm, give stability to the healthcare administration. And then, as happens always after any disaster, natural or man-made, that things will take a little bit of time to fall its place. But at this point of time, things are too disheveled. Things are too much in sixes and sevens for us to expect. Because, say, in Arjikar itself, I believe something like 50 to 75 students and interns have already packed their bags and left the city. There is so much of instability in the system. So they need to be comforted, they need to be consoled, they need to have somebody supervising them and their college. And once we have that, I am sure that since their anger will die down, some conclusion will be reached, and we are as eager as anyone else to resume normality in the health services.
Let me leave it there. I've heard various voices. Accountability surely is where you start the process of healing and bridging the divide that today exists between the angry students and citizens on one side and the state and hospital authorities on the other.